So today I'm going to show you how to paint animal fur, and I'm going to show you some really easy techniques and some brushes that will help you get really easy fur, whether it's for a cat or a dog or a squirrel, doesn't matter. Now you may say, what are you doing with all those brushes? Well, all those brushes I'm going to try out for our animal fur. I have like a nice angular brush. See the nice sharp tip on that? I have fan brushes. I have different sizes. I'm just going to try them out and experiment. You can experiment along with me. How's that? We'll experiment together. I have a Filbert brush. I have a synthetic fan brush. I just dropped my brush. I have a brush like this one here. It has openings and it'll make some nice lines for you. And I have small round brushes and a liner brush, little tiny fan brush. It's fun to experiment with your brushes, but we're going to experiment with these brushes making fur for animals, okay? And you know, we'll pick out the ones that work good and the ones that don't. I could do that before I do the video, but you know, let's do it together for fun. That's that one there. That one is it's different names for it. I think gardener brush, but I like that top there, so that'll help. And a nice flat chiseled edge brush. These nice flat chiseled edge because it'll give you nice sharp lines. And the one that I just dropped, which is important, here I am, is the long liner or rigger brush, right? So let's give that a try and see what kind of animal fur we're going to get out of those brushes. Alright, so this cat here is a good example for black and white fur on a cat, and I put on my basic black paint first and my underpainting for the fur, the white fur. I use a bit of a grayish blue color, so that's just painting in without having to worry about fur right away, just to get the shape of your cat. And then I pull out these little furry lines here to give it that little furry technique. And you just pull it out with your chiseled edge brush. So that will give a nice furry look and bring the white over the black. And to make this look more furry, or you know, give it a nice, some highlights to bring out the fur, all you have to do is, you can use this brush here. You see it opens up, and then you can take some of your grayish blue paint to make a grayish blue color with some white, ultramarine blue, and some burnt umber and white. That will give you a nice highlight. And then you're going to take your brush and you're going to wipe it off in your tissue. So we're going to dry brush on some highlights. And just wipe it off so there's not much left on there. And then you're going to see where the light is coming from. So we'll just say the light's coming from the upper right corner. And just drag that bit of paint that you had on there on the top of the head. There we go. And then you're going to bring it down to the back and leave some black, and then bring it down here. Now if you run out of paint, because we're dry brushing, make sure your underpainting is dry. Pick up some more paint, wipe it off in your tissue, and then drag on some highlights and go with the way the fur is on the back. So you just follow the lines of you just drag that on. and some on the tail. And see how that brought that out more? So you don't have to push very hard. Maybe a little bit in the ear, a little bit on the face. You can scrub it wherever you want, just to bring out that fur. See? So that's a dry brushing technique on your black fur. As long as you leave black, you will have really nice highlights going on, and they'll stand out more. And just dry brush on some of your light color paint. It's not very hard to scrub that on there because you're not going to do much damage. But you can see that you made some fur. And then if you want to you can take your long liner brush and pick up some of that color that you used and put smaller bits of fur on there just to bring it out more. Little tiny ones. Just over that dry brushing that you did. Bring it out into the fur here, coming out. See? So now you have some extra fur. There we go. A little bit here and there. Trick is to keep that black underpainting so you don't lose it. And once you get your underpainting done and you do your dry brushing, you put little bits of hair, little bits of fur on top of what you just did with a long liner brush. And the bluish gray is really nice for highlighting. There we go. See all those little bits of hair? Just with a long liner brush. There's a bit of fur down here. See? So all you have to do is follow the dry brushing that you did. Put these extra lines on top, little tiny lines where you think the fur might be. You can probably look at a reference photo and then you can see where the fur is. There we go. Alright. So the trick is to get your black underpainting, a little bit of dry brushing, few little tiny lines to bring the fur out. See? Little dabs. Touch and pull. Yeah. So you can see how furry it looks now, right? Just by putting on the black underpainting and then a little dry brushing just to bring out some highlights. And then your little pieces of white fur. Little strokes of white fur. See, and it looks so much furrier. Same thing for your white fur. We don't need a dry brush. We just need to fill up our liner brush. And same thing, just put on little white streaks. Little tiny strokes. You can even pull out a few if you want to get that furry look on the arm. Little tiny, just pure white, because you have your underpainting, your shadows. You leave some of those shadows there. Put a little bit of fur. Good. See, it looks furry already. And then you put on some more here. See, just little tiny strokes. Put some up into the black fur so that you can make it look furry again. And a little bit on the paws, on the bottom here. See? Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? So here's another little cute kitten. Little black one. So as soon as you draw out your cat and you fill it in with the black, and you want to highlight the fur, let's try a fan brush and see That works nice. We'll use our blue, ultramarine blue, and our white, a little bit of burnt umber. We want to make it furry looking, so put on some fur. Just trying to go with the way the fur is going on the cat. I don't have a lot of paint on my brush. Bits of fur, see? As long as you keep your darks, you'll be fine. Keep your underpainting. Bits of fur sticking up here. See how the fan brush gives nice furry texture? See that? Ultramarine blue, a bit of burnt umber, a little bit of white if you need it. See? Just using the tip of my brush, not pushing too hard. So I'm going to take some blue and white, add a few strokes just to give it some extra fur. So it's 3 steps really, isn't it? So what I did with the bigger fan brush, it was more like a dry brushing. And this is what I'm using for my long liner brush. Is great for these little bits of fur that make it stand out more, see? There we go. It's really cute. Now let's say you want fur that has this color on their painting. So say you're doing the back of a cat or a dog. You put on your underpainting first. Look for the darkest area. And then you just pull out some fur. So you put it on first with a flat edge of your brush, and then you can turn it this way so you get to use the chiseled edge. So whenever I say use a chiseled edge, I mean turn your brush on that sharp end. pull out some fur. Make sure your underpainting is nice and dry when you're ready to put your highlights on. So now you have your underpainting done. And then we're going to try this brush. See how you can see through the bristles? Well, they're not bristles, they're synthetic hairs. I'm going to wet it. And now they separate even more. See? And I'm going to pull it through some of that burnt sienna and a bit of white. Lighten it up. See how they're starting to separate? Drag it over there like that. And you got that much done. And you can almost see fur going on there. Just being gentle. That's your second coat. And then we'll try our long liner brush again. This one, Rigger. Add more white to your burnt sienna. Make your little strokes. Makes a big difference when you put those little strokes on, because that's a little, unless you got a really short-haired animal that doesn't require you to show any of these little bits of fur, then you can just leave your second highlight on. You put on your base coat first, and then your second little bit of highlight. Then you don't need these strokes because it's so, some of the fur is really close to the skin. There we go. So you put on as if you're putting on fur on an animal. Flat. Turn on the chiseled edge to get a little bit of fur coming out here. There we go. Let's see if we can get something like a bit longer fur. Nice. You can let that dry. I'm just using my flat brush. Now you can add some yellow to your burnt sienna. It's your burnt sienna. Some yellow. Don't you have to mix it completely. On a chiseled edge, pull down these longer strokes. See how you do some and then you jump over. Come down here because you want to keep your underpainting too, see? Now you add a little more yellow to your burnt sienna. Getting pretty yellow there now. And if you lose your underpainting, put some back. See? This time I'm going to add some white to my yellow and my burnt sienna. Brighten it up a bit. Put some of these brighter highlights here and there. You've got to watch so you don't lose all your underpainting. So that's another way to make fur. Like I say, it depends on your animal.